Good morning, dear students. Today we will continue our chapter number 3, the Sultanate of Delhi. Okay, so student, let's recall what we discussed in our previous classes. So in our previous classes, student, we discussed about the sources of Delhi Sultanate. We all know that we can consider some inscription, coins, monument. Okay, as a sources of history. But for this the Sultanate for Delhi Sultanate, we have one more source which is available in written form, but we cannot trust them fully because that source were written by the people who belongs to king's court. Okay, and they totally belong to king's sponsor, because king sponsored them. Okay, so they didn't write any negative thing about the king. Okay, they only write good things about the king. Okay, and we also study that dynasties of Delhi Sultanate, and in this we have first dynasty or starting dynasty, which is slave dynasty. You all know that India is invented by many foreigner. Okay, so one of them was Muhammad Ghori. Okay, so that uh, Muhammad Ghori had no sons. Okay, so but he have so many slaves, and he he give them right like their sons. Okay, so he gave, after winning any reason, he gave them that reason and make administrator from that region. So Muhammad Ghori also invented India, and he gave one of his slave that Kutubuddin. Okay, okay. So he gave that this Sultanate, that in Delhi Sultanate, to one of his slave. After Muhammad Ghori demise, that this Kutubuddin Aibak was uh, uh, Qutbuddin Aibak lead the foundation of the slave dynasty, and he become the ruler of Delhi Sultanate, or you can say he formed the slave dynasty in Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so first important ruler of this slave dynasty was Qutbuddin Aibak. And student, this dynasty gave us only lady ruler, who was Rajia Sultan. Okay, and she ruled Delhi for 4 years only. And because she was a lady, most of courtier were not supported her, so that they they remove them from the they remove her from the throne. Okay, and after that and after that Tughlaqs, uh, I'm sorry, after that slave dynasty, Khiljis and Tughlaq were ruled in Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so today we will now we will study about that this Tughlaq and Khilji dynasty. Okay, so let's start today's class with Khiljis and with Tughlaqs. Okay, so student, as we discussed in our previous videos, that in slave dynasty many slaves have administrative post. Okay, so similarly in Khilji dynasty and in Tughlaq dynasty, they also gave them they also gave slaves post in administration. Okay, they also gave them administrative post, and with also and with and they gave some posted to other people also. Okay, who take birth in humble family, humble, and they all are they give them high political and military position and in government. Okay, so this dependence of the Sultanate of Delhi on Bandagrams and noble of humble birth also caused political in instability. Okay, so when they gave the position to humble birth people, a noble of humble birth people. So this situation create political instability in Delhi Sultanate. They tended to remain loyal to their patron sultan and not their successor. Okay, so these administrative people are now being loyal to their sultan. Okay, not their successor. Okay, means if any sultan was died, so after that that his son, okay, after that his son take his place, but that coterie not support his son, they only support the sultan. Okay, why? Because of this slave and that the slaves and the noble birth people are in administration. Okay, so they have faith only the sultan, they have not faith to sultan's successor. Okay, so therefore the accession of a new sultan often saw conflict between the between the old and new nobility. So as the courtier not loyal towards the sultan's successor, so there were many conflict happened in between the old and new nobilities. The sultans used to appoint military commanders as governors of territories of varying size. So sultan used to appoint military commanders as a governor of their territories. Okay, these land were called Ikta and their holders were called Iktedar. Okay, and where sultan appoint these type of governor, so that land is called Ikta, and the ruler of or the governments of that land was called Iktedar or Mukti. Okay, the duty of the Mukti was to join military campaigns and maintain law and order. And what is his duty? So his duty was to join military campaigns and maintain law and order, and in that particular reason, in exchange for their military services to the sultan, the muktis were given the authority to collect the revenue of their iktas as salary. And what sultan gave them? Okay, so the sultan gave them the right that they collect the revenue of their region as a salary. Okay, so they also paid their soldier from new these revenue, and after collecting these revenue, they should be paid salaries to their soldiers. Okay, the Khiljis and the Tughlaq also relied on the Ikta system and of administration, but ensured that the office of the Mukti was not hereditary and they were frequently transferred. Okay, so student, the Khilji and Tughlaq also relied on the Ikta system of administration, but they ensure that the office of Mukti was not hereditary, and they change the iqtidar time by time. Okay, the muktis were also asked to strictly maintain the required number of soldiers. Okay, so the muktis have one more duty, that they should be should be um, maintain the required number of their soldiers. This stopped the Mukti from building social and political connection and becoming powerful. So the Muktis the Muktis were busy to maintain these rules, to follow, to obey these rules. So they have not enough time to maintain social and political connection, so that they becoming powerful. These later sultans took utmost care that the muktis collected only the prescribed taxes and not more than that. For this, they appoint accountant who informed the sultan about the amount of revenue collected by the muktis. Okay, so student, after some time that sultan took almost care of the muktis, and they realized that the mukti collected only the prescribed taxes, okay, not more than that. Okay, so sultan appoint an accountant who informed the sultans about the amount of revenue collected by the muktis, how much amount that mukti collect. To informing sultans, they appoint a accountant on that reason. Okay, now we start with the Khiljis. So student, the rulers of the Khilji dynasty were Jalaluddin Khilji, Alauddin Khilji, and uh, Kutubuddin Mubarak Shah Khilji. Okay, so here in Khilji dynasty we have three important ruler. First one is Jalaluddin Khilji, then Alauddin Khilji, and last one is Kutubuddin Mubarak Shah Khilji. Alauddin Khilji make an attempt to systemize and unify land revenue and urban taxes, and among them Alauddin Khilji made an attempt to systemize and unified the land revenue and urban taxes. He instituted a highly centralized system of administration over his realm. Okay, so Alauddin Khilji try to make the that revenue system for both area, land and village and urban and for these he make a centralized system of administration. Okay, under the early Delhi Sultanate, Islamic land tax Kharj has been fixed at 1/6 of the produce, and under the Islamic rule, okay, one tax which is Kharj has been fixed 1/6 of the produce. Okay, and but Alauddin Khilji raised the Kharj to 50% of the produce and introduced direct collection. So that was fixed under the Islamic this under the early Delhi Sultanate. Islamic land tax was fixed at 1/6 of the produce, but Alauddin Khilji raised it by 50% of produce, and he introduced the direct collection. He also imposed tax on cattle and houses. Okay, so Alauddin Khilji also introduced a new tax on cattle and houses. Jalaluddin Barni, okay, Jalaluddin Barni, a contemporary chronicle, inform us that revenue collection were ordered to demand revenue with such as regular rigor that the peasants were forced to sell their standing crop to meet the tax demands. Okay, means they and that Alauddin Khilji not give them any any chance, and they all had to pay their taxes. Okay, and it's he not give him any not give him any concessions. And this is informed by the source of this is Jayuddin Baruni's chronicles. Okay, uh, Mongol attack increased on the Delhi Sultanate during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, so when Alauddin Khilji ruled at Delhi on Delhi Sultanate, that time Mongol attacks were increased. Okay, this forced him to recruit a very large standing army in Delhi. So he recruit a very large standing army in Delhi, but also was a huge administrative and economic challenge for him. And this is here he also faced a huge economic and administrative challenge for him. He took various measures to meet these challenges. The Sultan could not have given ikta to all the soldiers, and therefore he preferred to give them cash salary. Okay, so to meet their requirement or their challenges, he do many practices. And now he include one system that now he paid cash as a salary to his soldiers. Okay, the payment of the huge military also meant that Aladdin was able to extract enough revenue, and which means it is a proof that Aladdin have enough money or enough revenue. Aladdin Khilji also controlled the prices of the commodity, as he had to maintain the large army at a minimum cost. So he also maintained the cost of foods again, because he had large army. So for so to maintaining their he wanted to maintain his army at a minimum cost. So he also controlled the prices of food grains. He fixed the prices of all commodities from grain to clothes. Okay, and slave cattle, etc. A controller of the market called the Shahana, a Mandri, an intelligence officer known as Baridas, were appointed to implement the market control measure. Aladdin because Aladdin Khilji want to maintain his army at a minimum rate. So he fixed the prices of commodity and from food to clothes. Okay, and to maintaining this he appoint some who officers of the market. Okay, and they control this system and they implement this in whole market. This is why, because in Aladdin Khilji's period, the Mongol attacks were increased. So to maintain to maintaining his sultanate, he need to more army or more soldiers. So he recruit more soldiers. Okay, and he gave them cash money as a salary, and he want to maintain his army at minimum cost. So he fixed the prices of all commodities as well as clothes, and to monitoring this, he appoint some officers who in in market who in market who is called Shara Mandi, and intelligence officer 2, which is also called Barit, and they implement the market control measure. Okay, so student, I hope you all understand that Aladdin Khilji or the Khiljis. Now we can study the Tughlaqs. Okay, so let's start. So the important ruler of the Tughlaq dynasty include Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Like Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq also raised a large standing army. He led campaigns to Kalanor and Peshawar, aimed at securing the northwestern frontier of the Sultanate against future Mongol attacks. Okay, so student, the important ruler of this Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, they are Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So, like Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq also raised a large or army. Why? Because he lead to campaign to Kalanor and Peshawar, aimed at securing the northwest frontiers of the Sultanate against future Mongol attackers. So, in this Muhammad bin Tughlaq period, the Mongols were also attacked on Delhi Sultanate. So, this Muhammad bin Tughlaq also maintained a huge military army, and he wanted to win Kalanor and Peshawar. Okay, so that all the northwest frontier of um, Sultanate were against future Mongol attacks. Okay, even before Muhammad bin Tughlaq's successor Firoz Shah Tughlaq could consolidated his rule, the Sultanate of Delhi began to disintegrate largely because of the struggle of power among the robbers. Okay, so student, before Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the successor of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, okay, may considerate his rule, and the Sultanate of Delhi began to disintegrate. Okay, largely because of the struggle of power among the nobles. Okay, and why this is happen? Because of they gave an administration post to slaves and also noble high birth people. So between them there was many conflict happen, and they not support king successor, they only support the king. So there, the successor, the king successor have not so many power or so many experience to how to they he sort this problem. Okay, so nobles, the disintegration of Delhi Sultanate was completed by Timur, who attacked Delhi at the neighboring area in 1398-99. Do you think Muhammad bin Tughlaq effort were ahead of their time? So student, in this critical time when the nobles were struggle because of power, so that time Delhi Sultanate was attacked by Taimur, okay, who attacked Delhi Delhi's neighboring area in 1398 and 1399. Okay, so now the Sultanate after the Tughlaq. So after the Tughlaq, how was the house Sultanate? So after the Tughlaq, the Sayyid dynasty, okay, followed by the Lodhi dynasty, continued the rule from Delhi and Agra until 1526. But the control of Delhi Sultanate was only over a small region, neighboring Delhi region like Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and the entire South India had independent ruler rulers. They not only established flourishing states but also enjoy autonomous existence. So student, after the Tughlaq dynasty, okay, the Sayyid dynasty, and after Sayyid dynasty, Lodhi dynasty continue to ruled rule from Delhi and Agra until 1526. But their control region, means Lodhi dynasty and Sayyid dynasty's control region was a small. Okay, why? Because the region neighboring Delhi, like Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and entire South India, had now independent state had now independent ruler. They not only establish flourishing state, but also they enjoy the autonomous existence. Okay, now these are not under the Delhi Sultanate. They are they are uh, they are a independent state. They have in their own rulers. Okay, but during the slave dynasty, Khilji dynasty, and Tughlaq dynasty, they were part of Delhi Sultanate. But during the Sayyid dynasty and Lodhi dynasty, they were not part of the Delhi Sultanate. They are uh, independent states. Okay, so student, I hope you all understand. And here one case study is also given, and this case study is based on experiments of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Which type of experiment he does? So Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the most learned sultan of the Delhi Sultanate. He was a lover of art, a scholar of philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, physical science, a brilliant calligraphist, and a very good poet. So, student, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was multi-talented. Okay, he was a lover of art. He was a scholar of philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and so many subjects, and as well as he was a good poet also. But despite his learning, most of his administrative involved inventions failed. But he was very learning people, okay, person. But beside this, his most of invention were failed. So first here four invention or four innovations are given. We can study it. First one is raising the tax in Doab sector. Okay, so student, Muhammad raised land tax in Doab, a very fertile area, to 50% of the produce at the time when the entire region was in group of famine. This caused widespread discontent among the peasants of the area. Barani writes that the peasants fled their home after setting their crops on fire. Okay, so student, Muhammad bin Tughlaq rising tax in the Doab area. Okay, and that area was very fertile. Okay, and he raised tax from 50%, okay, to of the produce at the time of when the entire region was suffering. Okay, so this caused widespread context among the peasant, and the peasant fled from their home after they setting their crops on fire. Okay, so this implementation, this raising of tax in Doab sector, this is plan of Muhammad bin Tughlaq uh, was failed. Okay, because of bad timing. Second is transfer of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Okay, students, so according to Barani, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was motivated to transfer the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad because he believed that Daulatabad or Devgiri was more centrally located and was equidistant from Delhi, Gujarat, Malabar, and Kampila. However, he was forced to return to Delhi because he realized just just as it was difficult to control South India from Delhi, it was equally difficult to control Delhi while sitting in Daulatabad. So he asked people to move back to Delhi. This caused great resentment among the people. Okay, so student, Muhammad bin Tughlaq wanted to change his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad because he think that this Daulatabad is central at Delhi Sultanate, and he controlled Delhi from there. But suddenly he realized that it is difficult to control Delhi from sitting in Daulatabad. Similarly, it is very difficult to control South India region from sitting in Delhi. But somehow he realized his mistake, and then he asked his people to reshift from Daulatabad to Delhi. Third one is introduction of the token currency. He started token currency, thinking cue from contemporary Chinese and Iranian ruler Muhammad Tughlaq introduced a token currency of bronze coin to be used in a place of silver coin called Tanka. Okay, so student, Muhammad bin Tughlaq introduced token money which is made by bronze instead of in place of silver coin, which is called Tanka that time, because Iranian and Chinese rulers were also implement this. So the experiment was, however, a major failure. Soon the silver coin disappeared from the market and forged coins made by people at their home come into circulation. Too many forged coins create house in the market, and the situation went out of control. He had to withdraw the currency and compensate the sufferers. So now, so he introduced this bronze coin. Okay, but his plan was failed, and people start making a false coin. Okay, and then when he realized that it is his mistake, so that time, until that time, the silver coins were disappear from market. Okay, so after disappear from market, so this too many forged coin created havoc in the market, and situation went out of control. So he withdraw his currency and compensate all the sufferer. Fourth one is expedition into Khurasan and Karachi. Muhammad bin Tughlaq undertook expenditure into Khurasan and Karachi, Korchil areas. He was unable to establish his control over these territories. This, along with the failure of earlier scheme, affect his prestige of Sultan and lead to widespread discontent. Discontent. Muhammad bin Tughlaq died in 1351 while fighting a rebellion in Sindh. Okay, so these were two area. Okay, which is Khorasan and Karachi, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq was failed to control this region. Uh, he he expend money in these region, but he was failed. Okay, so because of this, people have not faith on him, on their sultan, because of his all failure, which is also given here. And Muhammad bin Tughlaq died in 1351 during a war, or during a fighting a rebellion in Sindh. Okay, so student, here we complete this chapter. Okay, so now I hope you all understand this chapter, but if you have any doubt and you carry, so you can feel free to ask me. Okay, this is enough for today, student. Have a nice